Morning.
Morning. How's it going, Ian?
Good. It's been a while since we've done one of these. It feels a little rusty.
It's been about a month.
Yeah.
Lots happened. Yeah, we've had the holidays. I've had a baby. Uh,
I've tried to quit coffee.
you tried to quit coffee. What
Not
weird?
coffee, caffeine. And there's a story behind that, but we
Okay,
can talk about that now or later, I guess. But
so we can keep it. We can keep it coffee chats. It doesn't have to be.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm coming back to the coffee. I'll give you
Okay.
the short version of it. My wife gave me. I love coffee, so I'm not giving it up forever. But she gave me a coffee advent calendar, and
Oh
so
yeah.
it's single serving. So maybe like a machine cups 150 milliliters of coffee.
Yeah.
I drink somewhere in the order of 8 to 10 times that normally. So anyway, and it was I had to like hand grind it, and I was doing like the whole pour over thing, so my bulk carafe of coffee. So I started doing that at the beginning of December, and obviously I just stopped drinking nearly as much coffee and felt awful. Like basically ended up with about a 5 day deep hangover feeling.
Yeah.
And so my AI use case there was like starting to figure out with like I've got my Aura Ring and Garmin and everything like that, and just trying to like figure out what the heck's going on with me. So a lot of it is just obviously caffeine withdrawal, and that led down a deeper path of deep underlying stress that's kind of masked by stimulants like caffeine. So anyway, I've been off of caffeine for a little while now, trying to get all that stuff settled out and get my sleep patterns figured out ahead of coming back to work. So I will slowly reintroduce decaf and coffee later, but still coming out of the abyss.
Yeah. That's fair. That's interesting because you could input all those health stats now into ChatGPT. Just launched GPT Health.
Oh
I
yeah,
saw this morning. So apparently you can upload all of your medical information, upload all of your, say, Aura Ring information into the AI, and it'll tell you sort of what's happening to you, how to improve what's happening.
so I've been adding screenshots of my Aura charts every morning with the date on it into Gemini and ask
Okay.
for evaluation there. And then there's some questions in diagnostics of like how do you physically feel, and then a protocol on the other side of it of like suggestions. And again, partly out of experimentation, I've just been like, unless it's totally bananas, been just like I'll follow the protocol and see how I perform and my body responds to it, and see how the AI sort of advisory goes. But yeah, it's been an interesting tour. Like no caffeine, very the Gemini's been pretty strict about don't even take the decaf because like the trace amounts of caffeine can like you're hypersensitive to caffeine when you're coming up through the withdrawals. But, like you don't want those micro triggers. And then from a working out standpoint, which I usually do every morning, it's like dialed it way down to like yoga and stretching. And today was the first morning actually I got to do like a proper workout uh, on the advice of Gemini. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I feel a lot better. My metrics look a million times better.
Oh, so it's working. That's good.
But it's taken 3 or 4 weeks to like clear and
Wow.
start to get good. Like the last 3 nights is probably the last 3 good sleeps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, glad to hear it. Glad to hear
Yeah.
it's working. I mean, off the backs of that, I mean, I think one of the things we wanted to talk about was just how much AI has improved
Yeah.
over the last, I'd say, 2 months. I've noticed a meaningful difference in terms of, just the performance of Gemini 3 and GPT 5.2, like things that I used to have to really try to get AI to get right, like things like news scraping, like scraping components out of articles into structured data sets
Mhm.
was definitely a challenge before. And now I feel like it just does it, like,
Yeah.
which is incredible. And a part of that, just part of that story about it getting better is over the holidays using Replit to code a video style TikTok dating app that my brother-in-law just had an idea for, which we've got to like a full production app in just, working on it maybe 5 or 6 days for 30 minutes each day after dinner, which was incredible.
That's wild. Like the pace of iteration.
Yeah.
And I guess like you were saying also like the fixes and the adjustments along the way is just very, very rapid for making changes.
Oh yeah, like super, super quick. Yeah. Like like would have taken maybe like 6 months to get to that state,
Yeah.
probably with a team of software engineers. historically. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing the deploy. Not that I need a data.
Yeah.
See what the tech can do.
Yeah. Totally.
You want to talk about lithium? Some
Yes.
wild changes in that market.
Yeah, lithium is, I think, something that I missed, at least. And I saw something on LinkedIn recently about somebody just posting, like, look at what's happened to lithium prices in the last just 4 weeks, 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like, it's incredible to see. And I think lithium prices were about 60,000, at least from the Chinese market, at least. I don't know what the conversion is into US, but it's more than doubled in the last 6 months. And I think that's in response to a lot of the battery storage installations. So it's kind of a tailwind for direct lithium extraction producers.
Yeah, it's I'm just looking at the chart here. Lithium carbonate going from about $8,500 to 17 grand.
Easily puts like a lot of the direct lithium extraction producers into the money, like long into it.
Yeah, I think that when you zoom out, I mean, that's the last 6 months or so. You zoom out, you go back like 3 years ago, you're 80, 90,000 bucks, right?
Yeah.
It's a volatile market. And I mean, understandably, stocks are moving and the rest on the back of it. But, you know, that big down trough we've seen for the last 2 years comes on the back, seeing some net supply come in. Like, it's not that deep a market. And my impression is that you can add new supply to this market in fairly chunky blocks relative to the overall market size. And so, yeah, it's great that prices are recovering. My skepticism is like, what does that mean longer term, especially when you've got folks like Exxon and the Smackover and some of the things they're trying to do with DLE. Like, those volumes haven't even begun to emerge into this marketplace, and it's just not that deep. So,
totally.
Pretty cool inflection point, but I imagine this one's going to be a violent market for a while.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm just curious to see what would happen if Exxon brought on 100,000 tons per year, and you've got, you know, Standard or Smackover Lithium with Equinor in there. You've got all these little players coming out of the woodwork that could easily increase that, you know, production to, I don't know, 500,000 tons by, you know, 2040, 2045. But it's all going to come on.
That's pretty cool.
And to see if BESS also, you know, the battery build out continues. Although I think it is still a fraction of the lithium demand compared to transportation lithium demand.
Yeah, but still
meaningful. And
yeah, tailwinds are tailwinds. We'll take them.
Yeah. And whether or not that's causing this surge or not, you know, I haven't dived into it maybe as deeply as I should, but you know, it's interesting to see. I mean, anything doubling of a commodity price in the last 6 months is, I mean, we're seeing that with a lot of commodities anyway. So maybe that's just off the backs of things like gold and silver, right?
Yeah, no, it's very cool. I guess the other big one is some of the news we've seen around on-site generation. I think that theme of both the hyperscalers getting more and more interested, obviously, in power, of having ownership over power, and then bringing it closer and closer to the demand source, continues to persist. And I think you had a few comments around that one too.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's, you know, the switch to, well, I mean, you know, due to the inability to get larger scale generation, like, you know, combined cycle gas turbines and, you know, other sources of energy, or to connect to the grid, it's, you know, it's something that I would have never thought of, that you'd see all of this, you know, alternative style generation on site come online at just such high scale.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like as much a reaction function as anything. I wonder what the longer term plans are, and I think we've had all of those discussions too, where these initial on-site generation projects are, in many cases, maybe will translate into backup power once you do get grid connected, and so the longer term idealized case. Like, it really is, I think, an amazing example of how sort of the dynamicism of the industry works, where like, hey, there's a pressure point, we need power, we got all the first tier locations where you can easily tie into the grid. That happened. Now you're into like, well, these are idealized longer term locations, but we'll bring our own power, and that looks like a whole variety of assets like this, and then the ability to stage out those facilities. It's pretty remarkable. And then I think connected with that too, we saw Google buying Intersect this, I guess, over the Christmas break here, and the sort of ongoing vertical integration of some of these technology companies, where because of these pinch points in the ecosystem, feeling the need to own more and more pieces of them, and going upstream and owning chip fabs and chip design, and going downstream to the power side of it.
That vertical integration component is definitely interesting to see, and something we also see. I mean, we see in all sorts of industries like CCUS. We've seen that, but just the need to control everything. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Well, and it goes through these cycles where it feels like that's what happens when you go through moments of like value chain pressure. You go back to like the mid teens, right? Every oil and gas company was trying to build out their own midstream systems. As commodity prices came back, and you saw virtually everyone try to carve out and monetize those midstream systems into standalone entities. So you get these sort of like integration, disintegration pulses through the industry, and it's a great sort of marker of where the pressure points are.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of on-site power generation, one thing that might help with that is geothermal, and I just wanted to just briefly mention the year that geothermal has had, right? If we talk about major increases and major momentum, like just the amount of money spent. I mean, it's a small amount compared to what we're talking about, say, with data centers or with even just energy build out. But the amount spent on lithium acreage over the last year is over, I think, 3 times what it was in 2024.
Yeah.
So I think it was about 7 million spent on BLM acreage or BLM leases in 2024, and about 25 or 26 million this year.
So the pace is going to. Do you know what those are in terms of like acres captured? Has there been an influx or sort of an inflection?
Yeah. So in terms of acres captured, it's about 450,000 acres.
Yeah.
This year, as opposed to about 225,000 last year.
Yeah.
It's about double, right?
I wonder if that's almost a better marker, where you see the rising tide of wanting to capture that opportunity or that forward option value, and so the land rush is well and truly in place.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it I think is off the backs of actually commercializing some of these enhanced and advanced style geothermal projects, which Fervo is the big one. But another one is Ever, that turned on a project in Germany just before the break, just before the holidays. And I'm going to have Janine Vanny, who's the Executive Vice President of Corporate Affairs, on the Innovation Underground podcast at the end of the month. So
that'll be good.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of controversy around the technology, and, I think from what I've seen, it's very promising. And, to hear from her what the, technical, I guess, the technicalities behind that is going to be really interesting. So
what are you hoping she'll shed some light on?
I guess, first of all, the project in Germany that they have, but then also just, generating heat from a closed loop system, generating energy from a closed loop system, the actual reality of that, which I think a lot of people don't believe is necessarily possible.
Mm-hmm. That'll be a good one. I'm sure there'll be some interesting takes on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And so that's at the end of the month. I assume you'll post that afterwards.
Yeah, I'll post that in the chat here. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I guess last but not least, you're obviously somewhere warm. Maybe you should.
Yes, I'm actually in Barbados right now for my cousin's wedding. So, yeah, I'm in the wedding party. So I had to show up despite having a less than 1 month old child who's at home with my wife.
I was going to ask if you're bringing the baby along.
No, I think the baby hasn't had her first round of immunization.
Yeah.
So we felt like probably not a good idea to bring her to a new country. And then if something did happen and we had a very sick child, we'd be in trouble. Yeah.
Well, kudos to Lana, and
Totally.
long leash.
Alana, if you're watching, thank you.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, enjoy the wedding weekend, and yeah, looking forward to doing this again next week.
Yeah, we'll have to keep get the cadence back on track to weekly.
We'll have to do that from the Nexus Summit.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, that's when the next one will be. So
yeah,
it's really awesome.
Sweet, man. All right.
All right.
Cheers.
Yeah. See ya.